Diddy's attorney, Mark Agniflo, just confirmed that 50 Cent ruined any chances of Diddy getting out on appeal. The new evidence presented against Sean Combs in 50's new Netflix documentary Sean Combs, The Reckoning, has renewed interest in the murder of Tupac Shakur, and it looks like Diddy isn't.
50 Cent don't give a damn. He don't give a damn. He literally is saying he's going to reach out to Trump to remind Trump of the things that P. Diddy has said about him for the sole express purposes of making sure that Trump doesn't pardon Diddy in the event that Diddy gets convicted of trafficking and racketeering. That's what 50 Cent is sworn to do. And I got to admit to you, that's wild. Damn, you know you got an enemy there when the man want to go out of his way to contact the president, and clearly he has some kind of inroads where he can get to President Trump so President Trump can hear him. He's basically saying, yo, brother needs...
Diddy was on thin ice already after he was caught drinking and making calls from inside prison. This documentary just sealed Diddy's fate, and Diddy knows it. It's why he's fighting so hard to get it taken down. Diddy's lawyers have already filed a cease and desist and are now threatening to sue both 50 Cent and Netflix for over $1 billion. Too bad for them. 50 Cent got all his footage legally.
Diddy's legal team sent Netflix a cease and desist letter, but now the big rumor is that they're preparing a defamation lawsuit, potentially for $1 billion over the Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary. They're claiming it uses stolen and unauthorized footage to create a shameful hit piece and damage his reputation.
Is there precedent? Because when it's a documentary, footage doesn't necessarily have to be approved if it's considered a news piece.
And since you didn't watch it, Ebro, there's one piece.
I watched some of it.
Where, there's very intimate footage of Diddy with his lawyers. But in the documentary, it also talks about how he hired a young person to film him for X amount of hours, a lot, and didn't pay him. So if 50 comes along and is like, I will pay you for this footage.
Well, unless...
Yeah, that's the biggest congrats, by the way.
Well, depending on what the documentation is between that,
that person
and Diddy.
Yeah.
Right? If that
Why would he not
documentation
have...
says that this footage is yours if I am paid. If I am not paid, the footage is mine.
Well, no, but I think the default would be it's his. If they didn't end up doing paperwork and the guy's just been allowed access, that's his footage.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. If there's not paperwork.
So if Diddy never signed paperwork, he was like, no, I'm going to get you when I get you.
Yeah, that's right.
Now Diddy never gave him $1. Now Diddy went to jail. He's holding all this footage. 50 goes, I'd like that footage. All right, how much, bud?
Yeah.
This documentary also destroyed any relationship that Diddy might have had with his lawyers. Exclusive, never-before-seen footage of Diddy scheming with his lawyers and allegedly even planning crimes was released. And Diddy's lawyers are mad. Diddy secretly recorded phone calls between himself and his lawyers are not.
Diddy really screwed over Mark Agnifilo. I gotta say, this is awful that Diddy owes his life to Mark Agnifilo. Literally his life, because he could have gotten life in prison were it not for Mark Agnifilo, his defense lawyer, who had a brilliant strategy. And Diddy screwed him over when he hired this videographer to chronicle his life without telling Mark Agnifilo that when Diddy and Mark were on the phone, this videographer was recording what Mark clearly expected to be an attorney-client privileged relationship. Now, it is true that the client holds that privilege, the lawyer doesn't, but Mark's clear expectation was that this was a private conversation. These were private conversations, and that he and Diddy could talk openly, and Mark could talk to Diddy not just as a client, but as a person, and tried to guide him in a time leading up to his arrest. And unbeknownst to Mark Agnifilo, Diddy has got this guy recording the conversation as he's sitting there saying, "You are screwing this up. You are messing up this case. We're losing." And knowing that that's on tape. And it's almost like he's performing for the camera and not telling Mark what's going on.
The only reason Diddy was ever able to get out was because of the tricks his lawyers pulled and how they convinced the jury to release him despite Diddy being caught on tape. If his lawyers decide to pull back, especially from the new cases, Diddy is never coming out.
And the really enraging part about it is that Mark Agnifilo won this case for Diddy with legal strategy. It wasn't just an accident that this jury that had heard all of this in the news before the trial voted not guilty on all the serious charges. It was Mark Agnifilo that did that. Yet Diddy secretly records this guy and embarrasses him. And yeah, you could say, well, Diddy never expected that it would end up being broadcast somewhere else. Well, okay, but Diddy was planning on using it, or he wouldn't have had it recorded in the first place. So it's just really
50 isn't just releasing new evidence. He's actively making calls and writing letters to the judge to try and block Diddy's appeal. To make matters even worse for Diddy, 50 isn't even done with the footage he has. In a recent interview, 50 confirmed that he has more than 140 hours of footage which shows Diddy engaging in crimes. This footage will be released on YouTube in the next few months, and it's even possible that 50 is coordinating with law enforcement on this.
This, your bonds, yo man, how 50 get, blah blah blah, yo, Puff, take this self doing that. Let me explain something to y'all. Alright, whether it's NBAs, whether it's whatever. When these young boys come in, first of all, he only deal with young videographers because he want to rob them, and he know that they want the opportunity to follow Puff Daddy, P Diddy. They want that opportunity, so they get him at a low price anyway. But when you stay out so many hours a day, Puff wants a videographer with him 24 hours a day on call. Whether we on a yacht, whether we on a ship, wherever we at, he wants to videotape that, right? So now, they come to agreement. They come to whatever the pay is going to be. But then it be so many hours on that invoice that he don't want to pay. He gets in touch with the office. He gets in touch with the chief of staff. Yo, what is this I'm paying? What is this I'm paying? You know what you paying. You was outside all of these hours. It's 160 something hours in a week. You was outside 140. That's the invoice he put in. So now, being if you got a contract and he don't stand to that contract, guess what happens? He could do whatever he want to do with that footage. So now that footage goes to the highest bidder. And 50 had to be the highest bidder to get there. Yo, this is business. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't in love with you. Everybody ain't dedicated. Everybody ain't loyal to the point of stupidity.
50 isn't just releasing new evidence. He's actively making calls and writing letters to the judge to try and block Diddy's appeal. To make matters even worse for Diddy, 50 isn't even done with the footage he has. In a recent interview, 50 confirmed that he has more than 140 hours of footage which shows Diddy engaging in crimes. This footage will be released on YouTube in the next few months. And it's even possible that 50 is coordinating with law enforcement on this.
I knew 50 Cent was not done with Diddy. I knew 50 Cent was not done with Diddy. He just confirmed that he has more stuff on Diddy that he couldn't even fit in the 4 episodes in the new Netflix Diddy documentary. With 50, it is so hard telling what this man got his hands on, but he said this in reference to the videos that he got of Diddy before he went to jail.
A lot of the personal footage of Diddy has shocked a lot of people. And I know, 50, the way you run, this cannot be all that you have. Is there other stuff that you just have not shown?
Yeah, well, everything couldn't make the. It was 4 episodes.
Right.
So it was a lot. You had to pick and choose things.
And on top of him saying that he has more dirt on Diddy, he is also saying that more people came to him with allegations against Diddy that never made it into the Netflix documentary. With the anticipation, they ask him, are you going to make a second documentary and put it on Netflix since you have all of this stuff? And he says that he is about to put it on YouTube.
With everything that was out and all of these people that were coming forward, have there been any new tips that you've gotten since it has been released?
Well, yeah, everyone starts to feel a little more comfortable when they see other people telling their truth about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's got to be something on YouTube coming.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt like certain things were left out of this doc.
Just a few months ago, Diddy's attorneys confirmed that they were planning to appeal his convictions and were confident that Diddy would be let out on bail. Diddy seriously believed that he had done nothing wrong, and even though he was convicted, he should be allowed.
Yeah, we are planning to appeal. Man, I want to hear them, bro. We are planning to appeal. We think we have strong bases to appeal. The strongest basis is that the jury reached a verdict on coercion. It found there was not coercion, and I think the judge said coercion today as a basis for a sentence at least a dozen times. We think that that is unconstitutional. We think that a jury verdict should mean more than our jury's verdict seems to mean, and so we are planning to appeal.
Absolutely. Files a cross appeal. What would happen in that regard if they filed a cross appeal and then Sean Diddy Combs get a higher sentence?
He would not get a higher sentence, and they're not gonna cross appeal. We're gonna appeal. We think we're right, and they'll respond to the appeal, and it'll be decided by the Second Circuit as soon as.
Tell us about the conversation you had with your client after the sentencing. Consensual. The judge clearly thought the sexual encounters weren't consensual.
Because he's biased.
What did you make of his remarks?
He's biased.
If anyone, I'm happy to go. So we think that's just absolutely inconsistent with the jury's verdict. I mean, the jury's verdict was resoundingly clear. There was no sex trafficking. There was no racketeering. Everything was consensual. Everything was adult, which is why he was convicted only of the prostitution offense. What we feel happened today was that the judge acted as a 13th juror, one that we did not choose, and that he second